doctor who first told me my son was autistic. Could have saved us both a lot of time if he just said the truth. Autistic kids don't give a... They don't.
First question for you, Jon, is really sort of the obvious question, but how did this come about for you?
Well, let's see, it's about 2.5 years ago, I received the script from a couple sources. I had produced A Bronx Tale with Robert De Niro back in the early 90s. It took us about 4 years to get that made. And we stayed very close since then and have worked on a few things. And this was something that he had read and really loved, but even with him, it was having trouble getting financed. I also knew the writer Tony Spiridakis and director Tony Goldwin. De Niro had sent me the script, and then Tony coincidentally also knew they needed some help. It was a story that we all wanted to tell for and about families that had not had this opportunity in a film.
What made Tony Goldwin like the perfect person to direct the film?
Tony Goldwin absolutely is the perfect person to direct, because he himself, as a dad and as a human, is so sensitive, and as an actor, so great with the actors. And William Fitzgerald, our star, our secret weapon, who's not a secret anymore, who's so brilliant. I've been so blessed in my career. I think I have never seen anything like this guy. And he had not had the ambition or the training or never been on a movie set or in an acting class. It was literally divine intervention to find him. Only Tony and Bobby Cannavale and Rose and Bob could have created an environment for William to do what he did. Tony is so patient and so incredibly articulate with all the actors about performance, and that's really obviously what this movie's all about.
See, I'm really curious. So William Fitzgerald, this is his first feature film. He crushed it, knocked it out of the park. Mm-hmm. So convincing that when I was watching the film for the first time, I thought, did they get like someone who was actually autistic for the part? He was like fantastic. How did you find him? Like, what was the search like? Mm. What was his audition like? Because that's a role.
Yeah. We knew that was the key. We had this amazing cast with Bobby Cannavale and De Niro and Rose Byrne, but if we didn't have our Ezra, we didn't have a movie. Mm. And we went on our casting team went on a search for months before we started the shoot, and scoured cross country, special needs schools and acting groups, and we narrowed it down to 2. Neither one was William. We hadn't yet found William, but we were running out of time. And so we flew these 2 young men in, and we did a little screen test, and they read with Bobby, and it wasn't
gelling. It wasn't happening
right yet.
Yeah.
And at the last second, and we were shooting the movie, we were prepping in New York, but going to shoot in New Jersey for the rebate and all that. And at the last second, we got a call from one of our casting team who found in New Jersey, about 2 miles from where most of this movie was shot. William's mom had seen an ad in one of the magazines of, in the autistic community. We also did a lot of advertising. And she thought, this could be fun for William, who had no aspiration of acting, but she just thought it would be a fun thing for him to get a few pages of a script and try to memorize some lines and go in and just for the experience, because her husband, William's dad, had been an actor early on in his life, and William's older sister, who was 16 at the time, who is neurotypical, not autistic, she also wanted to be an actress. But William had no interest in it, and but came in just for fun. And of course, he lands this role opposite Robert De Niro, and his sister would come to the set, and she just could not believe what was going on, that her little brother was acting in a major feature.
That's like something, that you read about, like, oh, they found this person, like at a soda shop,
Yeah,
right?
literally. Yes.
A real like Hollywood story.
Yeah, totally.
I gotta say too, the casting. I mean, the cast of this movie is fantastic, but the casting of Robert De Niro and Bobby Cannavale as father and son, I'm like, what the hell took so long for that? That was excellent.
Yeah.
But your cast is excellent. How did you get such a great cast? For what was pretty much an independent movie.
It's absolutely an independent movie on a $10 million budget.
Oh, jeez.
And it took time, as happens and has happened to me over my career several times. It just, the stars eventually align, and then it just feeds on itself. So we had Bobby, and then Bob, and then Rose, and then Whoopi had worked with Tony. It was just a family affair.
Watching the film, what struck me is that there are quite a few scenes, heavy scenes between Bobby Cannavale and William Fitzgerald, especially like the scene in the woods, when they get lost. How was it filming those scenes? I guess more specifically, how did Bobby and William prepare? Did they rehearse? Did they sort of go off? I mean, you're asking William to go off script first. How did all that work?
Yeah. There wasn't a lot of rehearsal. There was a lot of kind of explanation. And William was really good about preparation, but he was also really good about being in the moment and kind of, and he improvised a lot, actually. But that scene in particular was very tough for him. All the outburst scenes were the lasagna scene, the wood scene, were tough, and his parents were there and incredible, so helpful, but he struggled with that scene and with the lasagna and a couple other moments where he really had to, in the script, have an outburst. So
how did he? Was it Bobby?
Well, Bobby was great. As a dad himself, it's just so real. He is so sensitive to it, and he's, again, making a lot of mistakes, but, he also then knows how to do his best to heal or apologize. Just everything that Bobby did, I thought, was just so beautiful and authentic and so parental and loving.
You're also coming from a filmography that includes the Hunger Games movies. Babel, like I said, at the top of the conversation, introduced you, and also, I mean, many movies with Spike Lee.
Yeah.
So when it came to producing this, you said that it had taken a while to get going. What were some of the unique challenges from your career, compared to your career, unique challenges that you faced as a producer with Ezra?
Yeah, every one of the films has their own challenges, and whether it's the challenge of getting them off the ground at all, or get financing, or casting, or getting the script right, or just the timing of them to finally happen. It took us 10 years to get Foxcatcher made. This took even longer from the time that Tony Spiridakis first wrote it, but by the time I got involved, he had already spent 10 plus years. Things that I've developed with Julian Schnabel or with Bennett or whoever, Bennett Miller, I wasn't involved with this as long, but you still, once I get in, then I'm using those same skill sets and instincts to try to make it happen, and whatever it takes, whether it's in terms of the financing, then the rest of it, again, your experience. And for me, it's, I approach it always the way I do it. So it's kind of, whatever the film is, it becomes the way I've always worked, with adjustments to whatever the specific needs are of that particular movie. But, also I'm as I just have a very strong passion for whatever film I'm making, because I can't spend 2 to 12 years doing something unless it's never been a job.
It's
and I'm as proud of this film as any film I've ever done in the 35 years I've been making, from Do the Right Thing to this.
Wow.
So it's they're all very, I'm proud of them because they're very human stories about not just those people, but our society and different, just human and societal situations that kind of need a voice, that have not had one. So that's been my passion and kind of become why I do this.
Sure. Oh, yeah, yeah. Please do spread the word. And again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Jon Kilik, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you
so
Great
much.
job. Thank you.